when the water almost took lives, but God said no. A story of a family saved by God. The rain had been falling for 3 days. It wasn't the usual Nigerian rain that came and went like an impatient guest. This one lingered, pressing on the roof like 1,000 fists. The sky seemed to groan, and the rivers swelled until the village was a shadow of itself, half drowned and trembling. In the small home at the edge of the valley lived the Adeyemi family. Samuel, a church elder, his wife Grace, and their 2 children, David and little Esther. Their home, once a place of laughter and evening hymns, now felt like a fragile ark in an endless sea. That night, as the rain drummed like war on the roof, Grace whispered, "Samuel, what if the waters reach us?" Her voice cracked, betraying the fear she tried to hide from the children. Samuel looked out the window, water already lapped at the doorstep. He felt the weight of his family's lives pressing into his chest. He gathered them in the living room, the lantern flickering. David clutched his Bible. Esther held her little teddy bear. Samuel's voice was steady, though his hands trembled. "Children, remember Psalm 46. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear. Tonight, we hold on to him." The flood comes. By midnight, the water burst through the front door. Esther screamed. Grace pulled the children to the wooden table as Samuel pushed furniture against the door, but the river was stronger. Within minutes, their home was a pool, cold water creeping to their knees. Grace sobbed, "Samuel, we have to leave now." But outside, the flood was a raging monster. Roads had vanished, and houses floated like paper toys. Samuel knelt in the water, lifted his hands, and prayed, "Lord, we have no way out. You are our only rescue. Stretch forth your hand like you did for Peter when he sank. Save my family." The children clung to their parents, their tiny bodies shivering. The lantern flickered out. Darkness swallowed them, a whisper in the storm. Just when despair clawed at their hearts, Samuel heard it, a voice, not loud, not thunderous, but a gentle whisper in his spirit. "Go to the roof. I will send help." He didn't hesitate. With strength he didn't know he had, Samuel lifted David and Esther onto his shoulders, guiding Grace as they climbed through the small attic window to the roof. Rain beat down like nails, but at least they were above the rising waters. On the roof, huddled together, the family prayed aloud. Their voices trembled but rose above the storm. "Lord, save us. We put our trust in you." The miracle. Hours dragged on. Cold gnawed at their bones. Then, through the sheets of rain, a faint light appeared, a lantern swinging on a boat. "Hello, is anyone there?" a voice shouted. Grace's eyes widened. "Samuel, look!" 2 men from their church were rowing a canoe. The Adeyemis had not called them, yet here they were. Samuel's heart pounded. He remembered his prayer. The rescuers helped the family down into the boat, their faces full of relief. One of them said, "The Spirit led us here. We felt we had to check this side of the village, though it wasn't on the rescue plan." As they paddled away, Samuel looked back at their half-submerged house. A home was lost, but their lives were saved. Tears streamed down his face, not of sorrow, but of gratitude. Safe at last, they reached the church building, which stood on higher ground. Dozens of families huddled there, singing hymns even as rain battered the walls. Grace held Esther close while Samuel knelt with David, tears mingling with the mud on their cheeks. That night, Samuel stood before the weary crowd and testified, "Brethren, when the waters rose, I thought we were lost. But God reminded me that his arm is never too short to save. He sent help when we had no hope. We are alive because our God is faithful." The congregation broke into praise. In the midst of disaster, faith burned brighter than fear. Reflections after the storm. When the floodwaters finally receded days later, the Adeyemis returned to a house barely standing. Furniture was ruined, walls cracked, memories washed away. Yet Samuel gathered his family on the muddy floor and said, "This house may be broken, but we are whole. What we lost, God can restore. What matters most, he preserved." Grace wept softly, not in despair but in thanksgiving. David whispered, "Daddy, God really does hear us. Samuel smiled through tears. Yes, son. He never left us, not even for a moment. The lesson for us. Sometimes God's deliverance does not come in the way we expect. Like the Adeyemis, we may pray for the storm to stop, but instead he gives us the strength to endure, the wisdom to act, and the help of his people to rescue us. The flood tried to take their home, but it could not take their faith. And because they trusted in God, their testimony became a light for others in the darkness. As Isaiah 43 verse 2 promises, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you." Final words. The Adeyemi family story reminds us that God's hand is never late, never too weak, and never far away. When the waters rise in our own lives, whether storms of loss, fear, or despair, we can cling to his promise. He will rescue those who call on him in faith. So, when your own storms come, remember the night God saved a family on a roof in the middle of a flood. Remember that the same God who parted the Red Sea and calmed the storm on Galilee is still alive, still listening, and still saving his children today.